In the ancient world of Greece, the gods reigned supreme, each holding their unique domain of power and influence. Yet, within this divine pantheon, a hierarchy existed, with the Olympians standing tall above the lesser gods, wielding their might and wisdom over their less fortunate peers. Zeus, often referred to as the king of the gods, is the highest-ranking god in the Greek pantheon. He is the son of the titans Cronus and Rhea and overthrew his father to take control of the universe. As the god of the sky and thunder, Zeus wields tremendous power and is associated with lightning bolts, eagles, and oak trees. Zeus' position in the hierarchy of the gods is undisputed, and his power is unmatched. He presides over all of the gods and goddesses on Mount Olympus and has the power to both create and destroy. He is also the god of justice and law and often intervenes in mortal affairs to ensure fairness and order. Next is Hera, Zeus's wife and queen of the gods, known for her beauty, jealousy, and fierce protectiveness of her marriage. She is often depicted as a majestic and regal figure, adorned in luxurious clothing and adorned with a diadem of stars. Her domain includes marriage, childbirth, and the family. Poseidon, the god of the sea, earthquakes, and horses, was a force to be reckoned. His mercurial temperament mirrored the unpredictability of the oceans over which he ruled, with sudden storms and tempests often seen as manifestations of his wrath. But Poseidon was not just a destructive force, he was also revered for his power to create and nurture life. Poseidon's trident, a three-pronged spear, was a symbol of his might and dominion over the seas, and it was said that he could cause earthquakes with a single thrust of his weapon. Hades was a more elusive figure, spending most of his time in the underworld. As the god of the dead and the ruler of the underworld, Hades was a figure of fear. He has a dark and menacing figure, wielding a scepter that symbolized his power over the dead. Despite his fearsome reputation, Hades was not an evil deity, but rather a necessary one, maintaining the balance between life and death in the natural order of things. Demeter, the goddess of agriculture and fertility, is a nurturing and protective deity who presides over the harvest and the fertility of the earth. She is a mature woman, dressed in a flowing robe and crowned with a wreath of wheat or corn. She was revered and respected because the harvest was a key element of survival. Athena, the goddess of wisdom. She was a shining star in the pantheon of the Olympian gods, her intellect and martial prowess unmatched. She embodied the ideals of wisdom, courage, and strategic thinking, and was feared by her enemies and respected by her allies. Her owl, the symbol of her vigilance and wisdom, was a constant companion, and her shield and helmet were a reminder of her martial might. Athena was a shining example of the power of the mind and the strength of the body, a goddess to be revered and feared. The god of music, poetry, prophecy, and healing, Apollo was a complex and multifaceted deity in the Olympian pantheon. Known for his unparalleled skill with a bow and arrow, Apollo was also the god of the sun and the patron of arts and knowledge. In many ways, he embodied the ideal of the Greek Renaissance, which emphasized the pursuit of beauty, harmony, and wisdom. Despite his many gifts and achievements, however, Apollo was not immune to the vagaries of fate. He was often torn between conflicting desires and impulses, and his love affairs were legendary for their passion and tragedy. Yet even in the face of adversity, Apollo remained a symbol of hope and renewal, a god who embodied the very best of what it meant to be human. With a silver bow and arrows, Artemis roamed the forests, accompanied by her band of nymphs and hunting dogs. She was a skilled archer, and her aim was said to be so precise that she could hit even the tiniest target. Despite her formidable skills, Artemis was also known for her compassion towards young animals, particularly deer and bears. It was said that she would protect them from harm and even nurse them back to health if they were injured. Artemis was a virgin goddess and fiercely protective of her chastity. She was known to be quick to anger, particularly when it came to men who attempted to pursue her or otherwise violate her boundaries. Her virginity was a symbol of her independence and her commitment to her own values and priorities, and she was revered by many as a symbol of female empowerment and strength. Ares, the god of war, was a feared and often reviled figure. He was known for his fiery temperament and his love of violence and conflict. His domain was not only physical warfare, but also mental and emotional strife, including anger and hatred. Despite his reputation for brutality, Ares was not without his admirers. Many saw him as a necessary force in the world, one that could both protect and inspire. Some even worshipped him as a hero, believing that he could lead them to glory on the battlefield. However, others saw him as a dangerous and unpredictable force, one that could lead to destruction and chaos. Regardless of their opinion, everyone in the Greek world knew of Ares and his power, and few dared to cross him. The goddess Aphrodite was renowned for her beauty and charm, and her power over love and desire. Her beauty was said to be so great that it could even rival that of the other goddesses. But Aphrodite's power extended far beyond mere physical attraction. She was a master of seduction, able to manipulate the hearts of mortals and gods alike. Her domain included not just romantic love, but also the broader concept of desire, which could encompass anything from lust and passion to the pursuit of wealth and power. Despite her reputation as a goddess of love, Aphrodite was not always benevolent in her actions. She was known to be vain and capricious, and would often punish those who dared to cross her or reject her advances. Hephaestus, the god of fire and metalworking. Hephaestus was known for his incredible strength, which he used to forge his creations. His domain over fire and metalworking also made him a fearsome force to be reckoned with, as he could bend even the most stubborn of materials to his will. Hephaestus was also a gentle soul, known for his kind and compassionate nature. He was said to be the protector of the weak and the downtrodden, and would often take in those who had nowhere else to go. This combination of strength and kindness made him a beloved figure among both mortals and gods alike. Dionysus, the god of wine and revelry, was one of the most intriguing and enigmatic figures in the pantheon of the Olympian gods. His followers, known as Maenads, were wild and frenzied women who would dance and drink to excess in his honor. But Dionysus was not just a god of wine and parties. He also had a darker side, and was associated with madness, ecstasy, and even violence. In some myths, he was said to have driven his own mother, Semele, insane with his divine power. He was also a god of transformation, capable of turning water into wine or people into animals. Yet, he was also a god of joy and liberation, offering his followers a path to transcendence and freedom from the strictures of everyday life. Hermes, the fleet-footed messenger of the gods, was a crafty and cunning figure in Greek mythology. He was known for his speed, and his winged sandals allowed him to travel great distances in a flash. In addition to his role as messenger, Hermes was also the god of commerce, trade, and thieves. He was known to be a trickster, often using his cleverness and wit to outsmart his enemies. Hermes was also associated with the arts of music, poetry, and dance, and he was revered as the patron of travelers and shepherds. The lower gods, also known as the minor gods, were the offspring of the Olympian gods and were associated with specific domains or aspects of life. They were less powerful than the Olympians and often played smaller roles in Greek mythology, but were still important figures in ancient Greek religion. The Muses, the 9 daughters of Zeus and Mnemosyne. The Muses were goddesses of the arts and sciences, including music, dance, poetry, and history. The son of Hermes and a nymph, Pan was the god of the wild, shepherds, and flocks. He was often depicted as a goat-legged figure with horns and was known for his mischievous and playful nature. The son of Aphrodite. Eros was a powerful god, capable of inspiring both love and desire in those he targeted with his arrows. His arrows were said to be of 2 types, golden arrows, which would inspire love and desire in their targets, and leaden arrows, which would cause their targets to feel repulsion and aversion. Hecate was a powerful goddess associated with magic, witchcraft, and crossroads. She was known to be a mysterious and elusive figure, with the power to grant blessings or curses depending on her whim. She was often invoked by those seeking protection or guidance in their magical practices, and was also associated with the moon and lunar cycles. Nike, the goddess of victory, was a symbol of triumph and success in battles and contests. Nike was a revered deity among athletes and warriors, as well as the general populace. Her presence was often sought in competitions and battles, with offerings and sacrifices made in her honor to secure her favor. Her powers were not limited to the physical realm, as she was also believed to bring success and victory in all endeavors, including business and politics. Pantheon of river gods. The Greeks had many river gods, each associated with a specific river or body of water. For example, Achilles was the god of the largest river in Greece, while Oceanus was the god of the great river that surrounded the world. Nymphs. Nymphs were minor goddesses associated with specific natural features such as trees, caves, and springs. They were often depicted as beautiful young women and were known for their grace and charm. While the lower gods were not as well known as the Olympian gods, they played important roles in Greek mythology and religion. They were often worshipped in local cults and were believed to have the power to influence various aspects of human life. In the realm of Greek mythology, the mortals that were bestowed with divine lineage were known as the demigods. Born to a god and a human, they inherited powers that were beyond human capabilities, yet not on par with their divine parents. These demigods often found themselves at the center of epic tales and quests, striving to prove their worth and valor to both the gods and their mortal peers. Among the most famous of these demigods was Heracles, the son of Zeus and a mortal woman. Blessed with immense strength and courage, Heracles became known for his remarkable feats of heroism, including the slaying of the Hydra and the capture of the Cretan bull. However, despite his prowess, Heracles was not immune to the whims of the gods, and he found himself at odds with their wishes on more than one occasion. Another notable demigod was Perseus, son of Zeus and the mortal woman Danae. Best known for his slaying of the Gorgon Medusa and his rescue of Andromeda from a sea monster, Perseus was regarded as a champion of the people and a protector against evil forces. Yet, like Heracles, he was not without his own share of trials and tribulations, including his ill-fated encounter with the god Ares. Beyond the demigods, there were other mortals who were granted divine favor by the gods, such as the skilled warrior Achilles, who was granted invincibility by his mother Thetis, a sea nymph. Though Achilles was revered for his might and valor, he too was subject to the unpredictable nature of the gods, as evidenced by his ultimate demise in the Trojan War. These heroes and demigods serve as examples of the complex relationships that existed between mortals and the gods. Though they possessed great strength and courage, they were not immune to the capriciousness of the divine, and their stories serve as a reminder of the precarious balance that existed between humanity and the immortal realm. Ultimately, the stories of the Olympian gods teach us that power and privilege come with great responsibility, and that true greatness lies not in one's strength or status, but in one's character and actions. By embracing humility, compassion, and virtue, we can strive to live up to the ideals embodied by these ancient deities, and avoid the pitfalls of hubris that have brought even the mighty Olympians to their knees.